All right, let's dive in, shall we? Today we're tackling the Satanic Verses by Salman Rushdie.
Ooh, controversial choice.
That's putting it mildly. This book, let's just say it sparked some strong reactions.
Yeah, decades of debate.
Exactly. So we're going to unpack why, especially some of the chapters that really got people talking.
Got under people's skin, maybe.
Yeah, that too. If you're into books that make you think, maybe argue with your friends.
Love a good book club debate.
This is the deep dive for you. But first, what even is this book about?
Well, on the surface, it's about these two Indian actors, Gibreel Farishta and Saladin Chamcha.
Falling from a plane, no less?
Exploded over the English Channel, no less. They survive, which is already wild, but then they start transforming.
One thinks he's an angel, the other, well...
Let's just say things get a little demonic.
But beneath that, Rushdie's playing with huge ideas. Faith, identity, what's real, what's imagined.
Exactly. He blends reality and dreams so seamlessly, you start questioning everything.
And that's before we even get to the reimagined historical stuff, religious figures.
Let's just say he took some creative liberties that did not go unnoticed.
All right, so first controversial chapter. The angel Gibreel. This is where Gibreel's really grappling with his supposed angelic identity.
And falling head over heels for Alleluia Cohn, this mountain climber.
While still kind of hung up on his ex, Rika.
It's messy, right? Human, even if he thinks he's an angel.
Yeah, imagine your whole world flips upside down. You survive a plane crash, suddenly you're an angel, but you still have all this baggage.
Trauma, heartbreak, guilt. It's all there.
And then, bam, he confesses his love to Alleluia. Just like that.
Poor Rika.
She is not happy. Curses him, wants him to suffer.
Understandable, to be honest.
Right. Shows how even if we think we're doing the right thing,
our choices have consequences.
Sometimes big ones. And those choices ripple out, affect everyone around us.
It's not just a personal journey, it's interconnected.
Okay, brace yourselves, because now we're stepping into the chapter that really caused a stir. Mahound. This is where Rushdie reimagines the story of the Prophet Muhammad.
He uses the name Mahound, which didn't win him any favors.
Nope. And then he brings in these three goddesses.
Lat, Manat, and Uzzah.
Who basically challenge the whole traditional narrative.
Challenging established beliefs. That's Rushdie's MO.
And it's not just the goddesses. There's this whole incident, the Satanic Verses.
Where Mahound, for a moment, accepts these goddesses as legitimate divine beings.
Then takes it back.
But that moment of doubt, that crack in the foundation.
That's what really got people fired up.
It raises questions about faith, about how we interpret religious texts, about the very nature of belief.
Okay, moving on to Return to Jahilia. Buckle up again.
Things get intense.
Jahilia falls, the temple of Uzzah is destroyed, and well,
she meets a rather gruesome end.
Yeah, not going to sugarcoat it. This chapter is brutal.
But it's also a turning point. The old order is crumbling, literally and symbolically.
You see this clash between tradition and change.
And the violence that often erupts when people cling to the past.
How far are we willing to go to defend our beliefs, even when the world is changing around us?
Heavy stuff, but important to think about.
Now, from the ashes of Jahilia, we meet Aisha.
A young girl who claims to be guided by Gibreel.
Leads this huge pilgrimage to Mecca.
Talk about the power of belief, right?
But also how easily it can be manipulated.
Aisha's story is like a cautionary tale about blind faith, about fanaticism.
And about the consequences when reason takes a backseat.
It's a bit unsettling, to be honest.
Because it makes you wonder, what are we willing to believe? And at what cost?
Mirza Said Akhtar, though, he represents that skeptical, rational viewpoint.
Right, so it's not like everyone just blindly follows.
Rushdie always gives us those contrasting perspectives.
Makes it more complex, more nuanced.
And finally, the climax. The parting of the Arabian Sea. Aisha leads her followers into the water, believing it will part for them.
Yeah.
That's the question, isn't it? The ending is ambiguous, left open to interpretation.
Some say it's a miracle. Others say mass delusion.
Or maybe something in between. Rushdie doesn't give us easy answers.
He wants us to wrestle with it, with the power of belief, with the nature of truth itself.
Which is what makes this book so, controversial.
And so fascinating. It stays with you even after you finish reading.
It makes you think, question, maybe even reevaluate your own beliefs.
And that's what good literature should do, right? Challenge us, provoke us.
Push us out of our comfort zones.
So that's the rundown of some of the most controversial chapters in the Satanic Verses.
We've only scratched the surface, though.
Oh yeah, there's so much more to unpack. But we'll get to that in the next part of our deep dive.
Stay tuned for more literary mayhem.
And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Book Reviews 1 for more deep dives into the books that everyone's talking about. We'll be back soon with more insights into the Satanic Verses and the man who dared to write it.
Until then, happy reading, folks. But it's not all like angels and devils and prophets.
Right, there's a whole other layer to the Satanic Verses.
It's also about the immigrant experience.
Yeah. Saladin's story, trying to fit in England, facing prejudice.
Totally. He's constantly trying to balance his Indian heritage with this desire to be British.
And that transformation of his, the whole devil thing.
It's not just random, it's symbolic.
His alienation. His feeling like an outsider.
Like he doesn't belong anywhere.
You know, makes you think about how our outsides can reflect our insides.
Like Saladin literally grows horns because he feels so demonized by society.
Deep, man. And speaking of layers, we got to talk about the magical realism.
Ah, yes. Rushdie's signature move.
Blending reality and fantasy, making you question what's even real.
Like, is Gibreel really an angel, or is it all in his head?
Exactly. And it's not just for show, the magical realism. It adds depth, symbolism.
It allows him to explore faith, belief, the spiritual world in a way that just straight realism couldn't.
And let's not forget about Gibreel's whole internal struggle.
He's convinced he's this divine being, but he's still got human flaws, desires.
Totally. Like, is it even possible to be perfect? Or is being good about wrestling with that darker side of yourself?
It's that age-old question, right? Nature versus nurture, angel versus devil.
And Rushdie throws in these strong female characters too.
Aisha, Hind, Alleluia. They're not just sitting around waiting for things to happen.
No way. They're making choices, driving the plot forward.
Challenging expectations, facing consequences.
I love that they have agency, they're complex.
Not just victims or stereotypes.
Exactly. They're flawed, they make mistakes, but they're also powerful, influential.
It adds another dimension to the whole story, you know?
Totally agree. And I gotta mention, like, the way Rushdie weaves in those old Arabian tales, the folklore.
Oh, yeah, that adds a whole other layer of richness.
It's like he's reminding us that these ancient stories, they still have something to say.
About human nature, about culture, about the things we believe in.
They connect us to the past, but they're also surprisingly relevant to the present.
Timeless, you could say.
And honestly, just the way Rushdie writes, his use of language, it's mesmerizing.
He plays with words, mixes dialects, creates this unique rhythm.
It's almost musical, the way the sentences flow.
Poetic, even.
Well, it's not just the ideas, it's how he expresses them. That's what makes it so engaging.
And so controversial, let's not forget.
Right, we can't ignore the elephant in the room. This book caused a huge uproar.
Blasphemy, censorship, death threats, the whole 9 yards.
It sparked debates about freedom of speech, the role of religion in society.
Made people really uncomfortable.
But it also got people talking, thinking critically about these big issues.
Which, at the end of the day, might be the point.
You know, we're not here to tell you what to think about the Satanic Verses.
It's up to each reader to interpret it, to draw their own conclusions.
But what we do want is for you to share your thoughts. What resonated with you? What challenged you?
Hit us up in the comments. Let's have a discussion.
And if you're enjoying this deep dive, don't forget to like and subscribe to Book Reviews 1 for more thought-provoking content.
We love exploring these complex, controversial books.
So we've covered a lot of ground, but there's still one aspect of the Satanic Verses we haven't fully explored.
Oh, what's that?
The internal struggles, the psychological battles that Gibreel and Saladin go through.
Yes, they're inner demons, so to speak.
Exactly. We've talked about the external conflicts, but what about the ones happening inside their heads?
Their search for identity, their doubts, their fears.
That's what we're going to delve into in the final part of our deep dive.
Sounds intriguing. Can't wait to see where this goes.
So stick around. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. Deep breath. So we're going deep. Inside Gibreel and Saladin's heads this time.
Into the psyche.
Exactly. Because the Satanic Verses isn't just about, like, external events, right?
It's about those internal battles we all fight.
Identity, purpose, belief.
But for Gibreel and Saladin, it's like amplified. Times 1,000.
Okay, so Gibreel, he thinks he's an angel, right?
Conviction is strong.
But he's so messed up. Doubt, lust, anger, not very angelic.
Makes you wonder what even an angel, right? flawless or just really good at hiding the mess.
I mean, his transformation happens after this crazy trauma.
Plane explodes, falls from the sky.
It's like that shatters his whole identity.
Forces him to rebuild from scratch.
Which kind of makes you think, do we all have that potential?
For radical change, you mean?
Yeah. Maybe it takes something huge to break us open.
To make us confront who we really are.
Okay, then there's Saladin. Double horns, the whole deal.
Not your typical hero.
But even with the demonic makeover, he's not IL bad.
There's this inner conflict, anger, resentment, feeling lost.
Like he doesn't belong in India or England.
The horns, they're almost like a physical manifestation of that.
Of feeling like an outsider, yeah.
A shield, maybe, and a weapon to push people away.
It's funny, right? Gibreel thinks he's an angel. Saladin's got the devil look.
Total opposites.
But underneath, they're both wrestling with the same stuff.
The human condition, right? Good and bad, faith and doubt.
It's what we do with those struggles that matters.
Makes us who we are.
And you can't ignore their pasts either.
Oh, the baggage we all carry.
Gibreel's got those crazy dreams, haunted by stuff from India.
Saladin's got daddy issues, a broken marriage.
It's like they're trying to escape their pasts, but
You can't outrun yourself.
nope. Past shapes us, even if we don't want it to.
Makes you think, can we ever truly escape who we were?
I don't know. But maybe it's not about escaping.
More like integrating.
Yeah. Owning it, learning from it, and moving on.
Because that's when real change can happen.
When we accept ourselves, flaws and all.
And the Satanic Verses, it gives us space to think about that.
To confront those tough questions, those messy truths.
Because life isn't simple, right?
Nope. And neither is good literature.
So that's our deep dive into the Satanic Verses, angels, devils, and everything in between.
But now it's your turn. What did you think?
Did it make you uncomfortable? Challenge your beliefs.
Hit us up in the comments. Let's discuss.
And if you like this deep dive, smash that like button.
Subscribe to Book Reviews 1 for more literary adventures.
Keep reading, folks. And keep thinking.
We'll catch you in the next deep dive.